Hello and welcome, Champion Community, to our September call. We're so pleased that you're here. Welcome to our new format. And if you're with us in the driving adoption forum, thank you for being a part of this new format and putting any comments or questions as we go through today's call. Again, champions are the heartbeat of our community and our presence out to the world to find out how we can better serve you. We've got some great topics today for our September call. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Now, first, I want to make sure that we do go over our digital code of conduct, right? We do want to make sure that this is a respectful community. We always want to aim to make sure that we are not tolerating any harassment or discrimination based on anything in these calls. And we encourage everyone to assist in creating a welcoming and safe environment. If you have questions or concerns about that, please feel free to reach out to any of us on the call. And please do engage in a friendly and respectful way throughout our community engagements. Now, talking about our September call, again, we've got a lot of great things happening today. We've got a great topic that we're going to have around the latest updates in OneDrive for Work. But before that, we do have some top announcements and some other Microsoft 365 updates that we want to cover. So let's move into these announcements. First off, again, welcome to our new updated call format. So we've changed this to embrace new ways to have community interactions and outreach out to you. You'll notice that we are primarily streaming both in our tech community, driving adoption space, and on YouTube. Inside of the driving adoption space, we do encourage you on that event page to provide your comments to make this interactive. As we go through it, post any questions out there. We've got moderators standing by that'll grab those questions or bring them live throughout the call and have still our open space at the end for open discussion. You'll see how to join that at the end. But again, comments throughout will greatly help around us bringing questions in. The reason for this new format is again, so we can access a bigger audience and make calls more immediately available afterwards. So you'll see that you can review and have content and access to this immediately after the call is completed. So thank you for taking time to go through this new format with us. We had a test call last month that went really well. And do let us know your feedback. At the end of the call, we'll still have our normal feedback survey. We want to know how you enjoy this call format and what we could do to improve the experience. We're always looking for that. First off, announcements. We want to make sure that we do call your attention to the Mondays at Microsoft call with Caruana and Heather. If you think about, hey, what are some great areas for me to go and see the big pillars of news at Microsoft and catch up really quickly, this is a great call to attend. Heather and Caruana both make up part of our extended MCAG team, so the Microsoft 365 Customer Advocacy Group. There's a great AKA that's came up on your screen on how to get access to it, and you can always go back and look at prior recordings. So anytime we have major announcements or changes, a great spot to go and get those updates. Kind of like last week and this week with our Wave 2 announcements of Copilot, you'll see a lot of key information wrapped up. Very nice to go and learn and progress forward with that. So great thing, great call to attend on Mondays there. Also want to bring your attention to new Viva community calls. So in a similar format, making sure that we do extend out to different product areas. Want to make sure you're aware that we've got a Viva community call hosted by Lucy. And again, that also takes place in the tech community in a similar format. There are monthly calls. We'll share roadmap updates, special topics, and clarity across the entire Viva suite. So again, if you're interested in that call, feel free to check out the Viva community call and the Viva community on the tech community. Again, a great space to get your question answered around Viva topics. Also, the Community Skills Challenge is still live. So we launched this fiscal year, but it's a way to build your skills around Microsoft 365 content, our user enablement training, and really packaging that up so that you've got the entire skill challenge all in one place. Great space to go and learn these new initiatives we put out. A lot of it centers around our new and kind of improved techniques around end user enablement, bringing the latest materials together as well for our Copilot learnings and our advanced practices in end user engagements process. So go check that out. You can see the link there on the screen. This will stick around for a while too, and you'll get a cool little badge at the end of it too. All right, I've got my great colleague Jesse on as well. Jesse, do you want to cover some adoption site updates?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you all. So it's been what 2 months since we've talked, so there's been a lot of updates, and these are really just like five of the highlights. And so be sure to go check out our release notes. If you haven't been following it, go check it out. We just updated them, make sure we caught all the updates and documented them there. So the big pieces that have come out. Copilot Wave 2, right? If you didn't already, there's a link on the Copilot Hub to go watch Wave 2 announcements with Satya and Jared Spataro. So in alignment with this, we updated the entire Copilot Success Kit. And I'll go into that a little bit in the next slide. But we also released a Copilot Dashboard Metrics ebook that's on the Viva Insights page. We also released multiple guides for Viva Connections, Engage, and Amplify. A lot of this content was presented earlier this year at at the M365 conference in Orlando. We've taken that content back, refreshed it, made sure it was up to date. There was some preview stuff in there. We cleaned it up, and we've republished it publicly now. So those are across all those different pages. We also released the new Copilot in Dynamic 365 customer service, not to be confused with Copilot in service. So it's a little different, or Copilot for service. Sorry. So there's a new microsite for you to check out there as well. And we also added new public sector resources. I believe these are more, these are very EMEA centric, if I remember correctly, but check them out. They're across the different tabs up along the top. As always, we do have an RSS feed that you can subscribe to or just go read our release notes. Now let's dive into the Copilot Success Kit a little bit deeper. So these are major updates that we've made. The Success Kit was pretty big already, but we have updated almost every single asset across the entire kit, and we've added more stuff. There's a blog that you can go to learn more, but basically, our top three key guides: implementation guide for leaders, the the user enablement guide, that's for all you champions, and then the technical readiness for IT pros and admins. Those three have all been updated with either new content, refreshed content of things that have released since March, because that's when we first published it. And also better clarity on the leadership guide. There's clearer slides on what the call to action is, what are the actual three essential to a successful Copilot implementation rollout. So all those have been updated. We added a new one there's a guide to engaging functional business leaders. So we're not talking about the C-suite level folks up here, but the GMs and the principal managers and the district managers, those folks, how to get them engaged in this process to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success when rolling out Copilot in your org. We have new training guides. So there's a get started with Copilot in Excel. That's new. There's some best practices, practical how-tos, and examples in there. We're working on more of those across the entire suite. So let us know. Give us feedback in the Driving Adoption Forum. Let us know if you like them. If you don't, what do you want to see more? So go check that out. Adoption.microsoft.com/Copilot. That's our hub webpage. And read the blog. You'll all the champions. If you're in the program already, make sure you do have access to these slides. They're in the regular link. You can find them in the newsletter. And back to you, Josh. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jesse. All right. So we've got a few other top updates that we want to make sure that we cover for you all. And let's move into those next ones now. All right. So Copilot and Forms. This is where you can have generative quizzes and kind of use Copilot to build out the explanations and rewrite the questions pretty quickly. So if you've gotten to use Copilot and generate any other kind of explanations and just information out, you can now use this in Microsoft Forms. So you can generate a quiz, write that information out, rewrite the questions and answers with the explanations out there, and also get immediate results right from that. So great integrations of Copilot now going into Forms. And wanted to call that out as something you can go and experience pretty quickly now in our continued push to add Copilot into additional areas. All right. Next, we want to talk about we now have SharePoint design ideas inside of when you build out a new page. So consider this kind of like whenever you would use Designer and PowerPoint or other areas and get those great visual layouts and ideas from it. You can now use this inside of SharePoint whenever you're going to build out a page. So you've got content on that page. You can go use SharePoint Designer to have it kind of recommend different looks and layouts based on the content that you've added in there. Great way to rearrange some stuff and reformat it with images and different banners for web parts and really make it kind of have that great look and feel without you having to go and build all of it out from the start. So again, a great way to kind of quick start that build out process of having SharePoint design ideas built into that overlay now as well. So a great thing to check out. All right. Also, now another fun one: custom emojis and reactions. So, right, bringing more and more expressions and kind of fun into the conversations with custom emojis and reactions. So you can upload, your own selection of custom emojis inside of your tenant. You can also make sure that IT can go and decide right which ones actually get to have be uploaded or permissions on who can create custom emojis, delete custom emojis, or you can also turn this off and have control over the enablement of custom emojis and reactions. So just know that, of course, you have control over that. But maybe you've got some organization specific logos that you want to upload in, or just have some light fun with some other things that maybe are happening throughout the calendar year or throughout your process, and add in those fun emojis for it. I know, like when we go through our gift campaign here and other different Microsoft centric activities, we'll have fun custom emojis as part of that. Even part of our teams, right? In ODSP, OneDrive, and SharePoint, or inside of Teams, we've got our own custom emojis where we can go and respond to messages. Of course, we got some other ones that sprawl out and can make the reaction and emoji game very fun, especially between fun colleagues. I know Jesse and I go back and forth a good bit, and Mark, on who can one up the better emoji response. If I had to call it out, I'm just going to call it out. Probably Mark Cashman right now. So he's got a very fun and quick response time on those. All right, and finally, one more top update for you. The new Outlook is now generally available. So this is still on your timing to decide to switch for that. The new Outlook is an opt-in experience, so it's ready for you when you were ready for it. But do know that it is now in GA, generally available. Lots of great changes that are continuing to come to the new Outlook. Also, we took a lot of feedback in our Copilot stages, learning about what was needed there to make it a more fully rich client. Go check it out, though. You got the link on the screen so now that you can go experience that. It is in general availability, and continue to please provide feedback through that Outlook experience so that they continue to build in the items that you need for it in your day-to-day work. So those are our top updates, and now it's my pleasure. I want to introduce Ifran and Liz to cover our main topic. Ifran, Liz, please take it away for us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Irfan Shadat, and I'm a principal product manager on the OneDrive team here at Microsoft. And I'm joined here by my colleague, Liz Scoble. Liz, you can quickly introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks, Irfan. My name's Liz Scoble. I'm a product manager on the OneDrive web team, primarily focused on the OneDrive web experiences. And yeah, really excited to be here.
Thank you. All right. So before we get started and dive into the details, we thought it would be beneficial to give you a 1-minute refresher on the role of OneDrive across Microsoft 365. Beyond it being a secure cloud storage for your files, Microsoft OneDrive is the underlying solution that powers the collaborative files experience across all of Microsoft 365. It is the reason that you can access and share your files from almost any Microsoft 365 app. And it is why you and your team can work on files together in real time. And when you are ready to collaborate, it gives you a consistent sharing experience, no matter where you're sharing from, enabling the tools that simplifies in-file collaboration, like threaded comments, add mentions, co-authoring, and a lot more. And of course, Microsoft Copilot is that one experience that runs across all of our apps, grounded in your data and content, and enhances productivity by providing intelligent assistance and automating repetitive tasks, allowing users to focus on more strategic and creative aspects of their work. And we'll talk more about how this applies directly to OneDrive later in our slides. And last but not least, OneDrive inherits all the same Microsoft 365 security, compliance, and governance protocols as any other app. So you and your team can have the experience that you trust. We have broadly structured our session on OneDrive today based on our focus areas and related investments in each of the focus areas. As you can see on the screen, first, of course, is Copilot in OneDrive. It's top of mind. As I mentioned in my previous slide, Copilot is that connective tissue that runs across Microsoft 365 apps that has the power to transform the way you work, both at an individual level as well as when you're working with your teams. So we've been focused on designing capabilities that enables Copilot in OneDrive to significantly boost productivity and efficiency. Next, OneDrive accelerates your productivity. That's our focus. It helps you and your team work smarter and faster. And we want to make it easy for you to find and track your work and to access your files when you need it, where you need that in the fastest way possible. And Liz will talk a lot about that, this section in this focus area and the features that we have that we'll cover today, like enhanced web search in OneDrive will let users search for specific projects and based on specific filters that we have enabled, file types and date ranges, etc. We also have one of the biggest updates that happened in document library or in the last, since 2016 or thereabouts. And we're super excited about that, and Liz will cover that. Media node, we've introduced this media node to the left navigation for OneDrive Web, which allows commercial customers to easily find their photo and video content stored in OneDrive in a single view. And then last but not least, the pillar that we have on the right side of the screen here is that, OneDrive is customized to your work style. With OneDrive, you can work the way you want wherever you are, whether you need to access your files online, on the web, or on your device. OneDrive has you covered in terms of customizations and catering to your work style. And there are a ton of features, again, that Liz will cover. We have the OneDrive offline mode that we sort of have started rolling out. You can expect, speeds up to 3x improvement in performance as you're using, document libraries in OneDrive Web. And also the offline mode. So if you're on the go, it covers you wherever you are. We've also introduced new OneDrive experience across a multitude of other surfaces. So we announced OneDrive 3.0 experience back in October. We are actually we rolled the same experience out inside of OneDrive, inside of Teams, and then Outlook, and also in Office.com. And then last but not least is, in terms of customizations, we know a lot of our audience loves the colored folders inside of OneDrive Web. We got that feedback. Let's have that also inside of Windows and a File Explorer. There's a ton that Liz will cover there as well. All right, so I'm going to cover a little bit around Copilot and how we've sort of thought about Copilot inside of OneDrive. Just to get started on that, when it comes to Copilot in OneDrive, there was this one central question that we as a team wanted to answer. And that was that AI is great. We know it's awesome. But how does Copilot inside of OneDrive help you achieve more? And so that sort of got us thinking in terms of the value of OneDrive and what we want to focus on when it comes to OneDrive, Copilot inside of OneDrive. The way we think about the value that Copilot can bring to every user on OneDrive is how we enable you to spend less time doing the work to get your work done. Now, what that means is that a lot of times we know that the work output that we want to create, we already have that concept of what we want as an output, whether that's a PowerPoint presentation or that's an email or a document update to a sales team, or whatever that might be. But to get to that stage, you have to sift through a multitude of documents, understand the key points in those documents, ask questions to your team members to get to the data, analyze data inside of documents, etc. So there's a lot of steps that are involved here. And really our hope is with Copilot inside of OneDrive is that we are able to accelerate that process of doing that work so that you can focus more on the final output of what you're trying to drive and what you're trying to achieve here. And that's the central problem we want to solve with Copilot inside of OneDrive. And the way we frame this aspiration is in the form of these 4 key pillars or focus areas in which we want to achieve, through which we want to achieve this goal. The first one, as you see on the screen, is discoverability. We want to make it super easy for you to get to the answers that you're looking for. Not to open the file and then trying to find the information you're looking for, but simply to get the answers without even opening the file. And I'll talk a little bit more in the later slides on that, what that means. The second one is about catching up. You want to make sure that it's super easy for you to stay up to date on all of your files and all the updates that have happened, even when you're out on vacation. You want to make sure whether it's summarizing a file that you recently shared with your team members, if there were any important updates that have happened. How do we make sure that you're quickly up to speed without spending a lot of time getting back to being very productive? The third pillar here, as you see on the screen, is organization. We want to make sure that we can enable a OneDrive experience where Copilot can automate and clean up a lot of your tasks that you're doing. And last but not least is creation. If OneDrive is where your content is stored and housed, we want to make sure that we enable new content creation from your existing files so that you can finish your tasks in no time. All right, I think with that sort of highlighted here in terms of like the key pillars, I will cover a few features in OneDrive that we're super excited to announce, that we've actually announced it, like to share with you. Just will give you a quick walkthrough about. With Copilot, we want to make sure as I mentioned, we want to save your time so you can spend less time trying to catch up on what's happening around you and getting having more time to getting your important work done. So here, what you're looking at on the screen is the OneDrive web, and this is the OneDrive Gen 3 experience. We love it. It's simple and intuitive design that helps you get back to your files as quickly as possible, and as the files that are most relevant to you. We hope that you love this experience as well. So here, I see that all the recent files that I have been working with, and when we want to make sure is that it's easy to, I think if you can go to the next slide, please. I haven't, yeah, if you can play the video here. Okay, so I think what it's, I think you skip through the video here, but like here, what it's trying to do here is a catch-up activity. Essentially, what you're doing here is like on the OneDrive web, when I click on the catch-up button on the top left in my For You section, what it does is it actually gives a summary of all the latest updates that have happened inside of my OneDrive. So essentially, what I can do also is it generates a summary. For example, I can just click and there's a hero command inside of this inside of OneDrive web for any file that I select. So in this case, I've selected this file that is talks about the sales in Mexico in 2024. And when I click on this file, it gives me a menu option. It might be seen. I cannot see it from my end in terms of the video that's playing, but if you saw it, it actually is giving you an option or a menu from Copilot. One of the most prominent ones is summarization. And when I click on summarize this document, it actually gives me a well-defined summary of this document, what this is about. So I don't have to, open the file, look through the contents to actually understand it. It's just with a single click of button, with in a few seconds, it generates this summary so I can quickly understand the context of this document. Now, there are a couple of other actions that you see on the screen as well. So I can copy this summary and then share it with my colleagues inside of Teams or in email. I can also share with summaries. And I'll cover that a little bit in my later slides. But basically, what you can do is you can grab this summary and you can actually share that, as part of inside of your share dialog, and that gets sent to the users as part of their share notification email. If you could go to the next slide here. All right, so this one is one of my favorite ones. In here, what I have is, imagine you have multiple resumes and you are an HR recruiter and you're trying to compare and contrast, the candidates based on certain facts and certain details that are inside of these resumes. So without even opening these documents or these resumes, these PDF files, I asked Copilot to compare this and generate a table right inside of my OneDrive web experience. From there, it actually gives you a table. It highlights some of the key common elements in terms of years of experience or skills, etc. So have a very quick and fast way to understand which candidates are most promising based on the job role that we have open, and then get to that get those details without even opening these multiple tabs. Saves a ton of time in terms of the effort required to get to what you really want to do, going back to what I was highlighting in my previous slides. All right, I was talking about a little bit about this sharing with the summary itself. But a lot of times when we create documents and we want to share with our team members, we just quickly click on the share button, and then we have the share dialog open. And then when you send this share document, it doesn't have the context as part of this document that was shared with the recipient. A lot of times the context is missing, and we don't see a lot of the collaboration that we require from the recipients getting started as quickly as possible. So with this feature, if I can play this video here, I have the Copilot button right inside the share dialog in the middle here. And when I click on it, it actually generates a summary of this document that gets appended as part of your share notification email. And I don't know if this video is playing or not. It doesn't look like it did on your end, but irrespective, the idea here is it generates a summary and it sends that summary as part of the share notification email. So it helps you accelerate collaboration and get your team members involved in what you're sharing and the content that you want them to look at as quickly as possible. The next thing I will highlight here is, we've made tremendous improvements in the file viewing experience for our users. So here you're looking at the new and improved design on the file viewer for all Microsoft 365 files that inside of OneDrive. If you open any document, you will see a new sort of capabilities on the top right, which is the presence of all the users on the top right side. You'll see support for PDF, you'll see support for images, and across all the Microsoft 365 apps as well. And then also, what we have also added here is the ability for you to leverage the same capabilities that we showed from a Copilot point of view in terms of catching up, trying to get a summary of the document that is open in this file viewer. You can ask questions, generate FAQ, and also find specific information about any of the details there. So with this done, a lot of these capabilities that I just talked about are already in the process of getting shipped, have already been 100% shipped. What I wanted to give you is a sneak peek into of the features that we're actually working on. So one of the things that we're sort of looking at is all the things that I showed you until now was related to files where there's text, and you can perform Copilot actions like summarization or ask questions, generate FAQ. Now a lot of times, our users are using files that are not necessarily text-based, but are visual. So if you're out in the field, you have you work with machinery, and you have a certain part that you don't know what it is about or what's wrong with it. With what we're working on is this, what we call the multimodal capability within Copilot. You can take a picture of that part that you're trying to get questions about, or you have questions about. You can upload it to OneDrive, and then you can ask questions like, what is wrong with this equipment? Or even compare multiple of these images together and then ask questions related to that. So just exactly the way we talked about how you compare PDF documents, multiple PDF documents, and sort of summarize the differences or descriptions across those files without even opening them. Same way you can actually select multiple images and then ask questions of that in the same way. So we're working on that. Super excited about that and the use cases you'll bring. Love to get your feedback on that as well. We talked about this a little bit in terms of catching up on important files. So what basically it means is, let's say I'm out on vacation, or I've been in a conference. I've had a ton of files, just like if you're like me, you have a ton of files that you created or you've shared with your team members. And then when you come back from vacation, the goal is to get up to speed and catch up on all things that you've missed, whether that's an important comment from your manager, an important task that was assigned to you, that you want to quickly make sure that you can prioritize and get working on those things, in the fastest way possible. So catch up is that capability. So in the For You section on top left, you will see I can click on that catch up button, and then once I click on it, it'll actually let me summarize all the files that I've been using, I've been sharing in the recent past. It'll summarize some of the key comments that have been placed in those documents by anybody. It'll also make sure that any of the things that I need the most urgent attention from my side. Like as you can see from the video here, it's basically summarizing all those files and giving me sort of a digest of all the things that I should be looking into. So that's the idea here. We're super excited about that. This is an area that a lot of our research has given feedback on from customers like yourself, about the need to get up to speed on all things that are happening on your files as quickly as possible. The other capability is around conversion of any sort of output that you have from a Copilot response into a document itself. Now, a lot of times what we've heard from our users is that summarization of a document or creating an FAQ out of a document without even opening that is great. We can visually see it. But how about in place allowing the ability to then create a document out of that Copilot response? So essentially in this case where I've created a summary of a document, and now right in place where the summary is generated, I can now click on the button. With just one click, I can create a Word document, and it's safe and secure in my OneDrive with the output that I was desiring. And then I can share, do further analysis, etc. But in line, it allows you to sort of create a document so you don't miss that important FAQ that you've generated or any of the prompts that you've sort of used to get to that output that you were looking for. And then same way, sort of like, another way is like you've probably seen it across Microsoft 365 as well, as like you have sort of notes that you have created. There is a presentation, that important presentation that you want to generate out of that notes or document that you have created. And then with a single click of a button, so you can just right click on that file, ask Copilot to convert this document into a PowerPoint presentation, and boom, within seconds it generates that sort of outline of the presentation. You can ask it to apply a specific theme, and then you have a working structure of a PowerPoint created out of the document in a matter of seconds. So again, the idea here is to get you to the next level as quickly as possible, so you don't spend time on the mechanics of things, but more on how do you get that output out of it. So just as I wrap, I just want to quickly talk about some of the limitations around some of these capabilities. So when I showed you multi-file Q&A and summarization, this is currently limited to 5 files at one time. So you can select 5 files and get the summary. Likewise, the shared with summary feature is available for Word online, and it's currently only working on non-encrypted documents. We actually will have the support for encrypted documents later this year. And then also all this works, or the summarization capabilities works on files that are under 150 megabytes or 40,000 characters, which basically covers over 90% of all the documents that you'll be working on. Quick recap of what's coming this summer or fall, which are actually in fall. We actually talked about share with summary. It's already available now. One-click summarization. This is rolling out. We should be fully rolled out by end of this month for one-click summarization inside of OneDrive Web. And also creating an FAQ from a file, comparing files, Q&A on your files without opening those files. And then also Copilot actions on your files when it comes to document libraries where the quick access. So all these features on the left side actually are in the process of rolling out. We should be done with 100% rollout by end of this month. And then coming later this year, and I'll cover later as well in my sort of recap for the overall roadmap, we are working on question and answers, Q&A on images, as I mentioned, catching up inside of OneDrive Web for all of your files, conversion of your Copilot response to a document, to a Word document, and also creating a presentation, PowerPoint presentation out of your document. So all those things are coming later this year. We're super excited. I love your feedback as you sort of try these features and take it for a spin. All right. What I'll do now is I'll transition over to my colleague Liz, who will cover the rest of these pillars here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Irfan. All right. So we'll go back to the slides here. So OneDrive helps you and your team work smarter and faster. And we want to make it really easy for you to find and track your work and access any file you need whenever you need it. So in October 2023, we launched the most significant revamp of the OneDrive experience in quite a while, introducing the third generation of OneDrive to all users. So we designed this new OneDrive both for your personal productivity and your teamwork needs, making it the one place for all of your files and content you work with from across Microsoft 365, no matter where it lives. We introduced new views like Home, where you can get back to the files that you're working on quickly and easily, People and Meetings views, where you can easily find files shared by a specific person or in a meeting, and Favorites, where you can get back to files that are most important to you. But we didn't stop shipping new features with our big third generation update last year. Today, I'm excited to share more about all the new features we've either recently shipped or are currently rolling out. So in addition to the new People and Meetings views we introduced last October, we have a new media view where you can now easily browse and access all of your photo and video content in OneDrive. For example, say you have assets from a recent product photo shoot that you want to share with your marketing team. You can now see all of the content here in one streamlined view. And some of this may look familiar if you back up your photos with OneDrive for personal use, because we're building on all of our learnings and bringing the best of the consumer photos experience to OneDrive for work and school. And this is available for all customers today. Now we'll move on to sharing. So sharing is one of the most widely used features across Microsoft 365, and we know how critical it is to your team's collaboration and productivity. So we've streamlined the sharing dialog, making it faster and easier to use. So now when you open the share experience across Microsoft 365 applications, you can focus on the core sharing tasks, like sending an email invite or copying a link for others to start collaborating on your files quickly and easily. And this new streamlined experience is now available for all users. OneDrive for the web now lets you find your files faster than ever before with new and improved search functionality. So whether the file is stored in your OneDrive, in a shared folder, document libraries, our improved search feature allows you to easily sift through all of your digital workspace in one centralized location. We've got new visuals to make it easier to see the most important metadata, added quick filters for things like date and file type. You can easily switch between files that are stored in your OneDrive versus all files. You can also easily navigate to that file's location if you want to see more context about the file or others related to it. And these search improvements are currently rolling out to customers and should be available to everyone very soon. And we're thrilled to bring the next generation of OneDrive experiences to SharePoint document libraries as well. Now, this will be our biggest update to document libraries since 2016, which is really exciting. We're bringing the fresh third generation visuals, best-in-class performance, and your favorite features from Microsoft lists like board view here to all document libraries. And we can't wait for you to try it out early next year. All right, OneDrive helps you get back to the files and content you care about on any device, wherever you are. No matter where or how you like to work, our team is working hard to make sure that OneDrive is a consistent, powerful, and predictable experience wherever you access it. We've lit up our next generation of OneDrive experiences across the Microsoft 365 suite. We've refreshed the OneDrive file picker here. We've brought our next generation of OneDrive to the OneDrive experience in Teams, brought it to Outlook as well, and it's currently rolling out to customers in Microsoft365.com. So wherever your files are needed, that same powerful, consistent OneDrive experience is there for you. And we know that you might not always be at your normal workstation when you need to access your files. You need to get your work done on the go. So whether you're on the road or maybe you normally have a stable Wi-Fi connection that just is a little shaky, you'll soon be able to take advantage of offline mode in OneDrive. So you can get blazing fast speeds when viewing and working with OneDrive in your favorite browser, whether you're online or offline. And as Irfan mentioned before, you can expect to see up to 3 times improvements in performance when it comes to viewing and interacting with your files. So now let's take a look at offline mode in action. So I'm getting ready for a customer meeting and I'm traveling to the meeting, and so I want to do some prep while I'm traveling. So I can navigate to the file that I want in OneDrive, and I can select Make Available Offline. And I'll let the video catch up with me for a second here. Oh, well, we might not get the video demo. I can kind of just walk through the scenario. Essentially, I can click and make the file available offline, disconnect from Wi-Fi, and I'll still be able to access it. I can open that file, I can make any changes, I can even do things like edit in grid view to rename the file. And then when I come back online, all of my changes will be synced seamlessly. It's like I never left. So offline mode for your files in OneDrive is currently available. And coming later this year, you'll also have that same fast and throttle-free experience when you're online or offline in document libraries that you're browsing through OneDrive. Okay, offline mode is powered by the OneDrive Sync client, which remains a really foundational OneDrive customer experience. We have not forgotten about it at all. And we're continuing to work with our partners in Windows to deliver improvements to File Explorer so you can experience the best of OneDrive however you choose to work. Over the past year, we've delivered new improvements to File Explorer like recommended files and favorites, which are now all accessible in your home view. And there are many new updates in the pipeline we're excited to share very soon. But one of those new updates that I'm most excited to share today is colored folders. So we're bringing one of our most loved features in OneDrive to File Explorer. So now you'll be able to use and interact with your content in a personalized and delightful way wherever you use OneDrive. This is currently rolling out to customers and should be broadly available by the end of this week. So look out for it soon. And with that, I will turn it back over to Irfan to take us through an overview of the OneDrive roadmap. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Liz. Let's get back to the slides here, if we can. All right. We saw a ton of content today in terms of all things that we have shipped, are in the process of shipping, or will be coming to you in the next few months. So it's important, we thought it was important just to give you sort of a snapshot view of all the things that we talked about today, and quite a lot more in terms of looking at it on the left side for all the things that we have shipped in the last 6 months. We talked about the share Word documents with a Copilot summary. We talked about all the things, in terms of the OneDrive Gen 3 experience that is going into Teams and now Outlook that we delivered, and now coming soon to Microsoft365.com, and a lot of improvements in terms of file viewing, etc., and then media view in OneDrive. Over the next 3 months, you will see a lot of the new features that are currently rolling out to be 100% done. We talked about the offline mode in OneDrive with its performance improvements, as well as being able to make changes to document while you do not have internet connectivity, and get all the changes synced back to OneDrive when you regain internet connectivity. Also, we talked about the colored folders in File Explorer that we're super excited about getting to 100% rollout completion. Sync Admin Report, which is ability for us to generate reports on sync status for across all of your devices. We're glad that this will be rolled out, fully rolled out in GA for our GCC customers, and also being able to export sync admin reports. This is another capability that we're actually looking forward to having delivered fully and being generally available by in the next 3 to 6 months. We're also working on, as we mentioned in our presentation about Copilot and OneDrive, will be 100% fully generally available for features like summarization, comparing multiple documents, generating a Q&A on document without opening them. So all these cool capabilities will be available very soon. And then when you look at towards the end of this year, going into the first quarter of calendar year 25, we are going to add more capabilities inside of for Copilot inside of OneDrive, like catch up, the multimodal Q&A, asking questions for images, and a lot more. We talked about the offline mode. We're going to expand that to recent document libraries and shortcut folders. So there's a lot more coverage there for this capability. And then also, sync admin report generally available for GCCH and high and DoD customers. So a ton of activity there. We hope this was sort of useful in terms of like the 10,000 feet view of all the capabilities that we're going to be shipping very soon. We also wanted to highlight, there's an exciting OneDrive digital event that will be streamed live on October 8th at 10 a.m. Pacific. It is a Teams live event where we'll share the latest innovations in OneDrive and also answer questions live during the event. So please don't forget to put this on your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you there. These are some of the latest innovations that our team will cover. There's a lot of exciting announcements there. And then, we've got 4 additional call outs or pointers as we sort of wrap our session here today. We recently announced the M365 Wave 2 or Copilot Wave 2 announcements for OneDrive and SharePoint. There is a great blog post that sort of summarizes all of those capabilities. We highly recommend that you visit that blog post. We'll share that with you. And also, speaking of blog posts, OneDrive has a dedicated site where you'll find all information related to OneDrive in terms of blog posts and announcements, aka.ms/OneDrive blog. We highly recommend that you visit, bookmark, save that. If you're keenly interested in all the latest and greatest on OneDrive, that is the one-stop shop where you'll find all the information. We also have a monthly podcast on OneDrive that is run by my colleagues here in the OneDrive team. It's called the OneDrive Sync Up Podcast. You can find more information or details on that at aka.ms/syncup, as you see on the screen. Lastly, if you like the updates that you heard from us today, and we do something very similar every month on the third Wednesday of every month at 8 a.m. Pacific. We call it the OneDrive office hours. You can find more information on that at aka.ms/OneDrive office hours. With that, I will wrap up. And if you have any questions, we'll go through your comments and make sure that we answer all the questions there. Thank you so much for your time.
You're fine, Liz. Thank you so much. I know we've got some great questions that came in from the community that we'll get to in just a moment. One thing that I want to add before we get to our open discussion time is just to quickly showcase some events that we have coming up. So, right, we are responsible for a number of community events that are global, worldwide. A lot that are happening right now at the end of September. If we can swap over to that, we'll show a quick listing of these. You can see a number of them that are happening right now and throughout the next week. And then we do have Ignite coming up November 18th through the 22nd, and then European SharePoint Conference December 2nd through the 5th. So again, these are just a few of the events that are happening. You can always check out communitydays.org to find a full listing of other community events, or to engage and start your own community event. We'd love to encourage you to do that. A lot of folks here from the community participate in these or start their own. So I just wanted to call that out before we moved into our open discussion. All right, so we want to move in now to open discussion. This will be a bit different than our previous calls. Of course, we are in a new format. On the screen, you've got a link that you can join to jump in live with us. We'll bring you on camera to ask a question. You can also, as you've been doing, post your questions out on the Driving Adoption Forum. But Irfan, Liz, we do have a couple of questions that came in that I want to start with. So the first one is from the tech community.
how does Copilot determine what the most recent file is that's being used?
Yeah, I can take that. I think it was probably answered by Carter on on the blog or the community tech site as well. So it's the exact. So we look at a multitude of things in terms of your recent activity. So for example, if there are files in terms of recency, so a specific date range that you have been working on in the recent past. It also looks at who your closest circles are that you have been collaborating, sharing files. All the logic that applies to sort of the recent view, it's basically the same logic that we apply for this as well. And so it's not necessarily like different in terms of where you see like for OneDrive Web as an example, there is a for you section that sort of use the same logic around what are the most relevant files for you based on who you've been collaborating with in recent past. What files have you been working on? Where do you see the most amount of activity for the files that you've been working on, and it sort of generates that logic from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We do have 2 guests that came in, so we're going to bring them on air and let them ask live.
Yeah.
So let's see who we're going to bring in first. Sorry, names are still populating for me. So 1 second. Hey, Walter, can you hear us? We'll see Teams things sometimes transition here too with mute. So we do see you on mute at the moment. You should see an unmute down in the bottom left of the screen, Walter.
Yes, I am here, but I actually don't have any questions. So sorry if I confused anyone.
Well, hey, no worries. Thank you for letting us bring somebody on live to ask and at least get in. So no issues at all, sir. Cool. So we do have another question that did come in from the tech community. And this question was, could you share some best practices for using OneDrive Sync? Big files, path limitations, and when to use add to OneDrive.
Is Carter here? Can we pull Carter in for this question? I think he would be the expert to give the answer. Perfect. Hey, Carter.
Hello. Yeah, I am here. So I did try to reply here in the comments. There is a file path limit of 400 characters. That is not changing right now. And so if you are experiencing file path limit restrictions, our best practice there is to just really start to encourage sort of rearranging. We get a lot of that as like if people are nesting folders like very deep, and if those are long file paths or folders names, and then so shortening those up or anything, it's normally not like a file that's in your root that's just 400 characters. And so there is a file path limit that is there. It's a service side restriction for all of SharePoint and OneDrive. And so any improvement there that you can make on your side, we are exploring and trying to, like, we feel the pain as well. And so we are exploring and trying to improve that. The second thing with best practices, I tried to answer quite a few. I think Michael and I, and there's a few others in that question around best practices around when to use add to OneDrive. We really view folder shortcuts is what I call these as the future and the path forward. And so today there's 2 ways to work with your collaborative files. You can sync them down via a sync button, and that syncs down the SharePoint library into like that separate folder. The other way is to add it to your OneDrive, and then it does sync down as well and shows up in File Explorer, and you can work on it. Our most performant and our most performant, or like the best solution there, is really to add it as a shortcut. It's the most performant. It behaves the best with File Explorer, and we're looking at improving that as well, so that as you have as you're sort of working in it in File Explorer and the navigation to it, there will be improvements coming in the next few months where those will be better performant, and also just not block all of the sync client and things like that. So best practice, continue to use folder shortcuts. If you are using team sites and if you're using the sync operation, try out those folder shortcuts and see if that works best for you. But yeah, we're looking at more improvements over the months, and we'll talk about that as we come.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carter. And thank you to the entire OneDrive team represented here, Ifran, Liz, Carter, for joining us for today's topic. We do have a few final call to actions that I'd like to bring since we're approaching the end of our time. You recognize this was a new format. We drive these calls off of your feedback. A lot of the feedback was to make these more globally available. So we're going to put up the link for feedback on the next screen. And do encourage you to please provide feedback to us on how this call format went. You can visit that page to drop it to us. Also, you've been out in the driving adoption community, but please do consider joining that community. You'll get updates for future calls like this and other responses or engagements that may happen as part of the conclusion of this call. And please invite your colleagues to be a part of the champion community. We love to see it grow. We want to see and continue on how we can improve, what we can bring to you and deliver as far as awareness out so that you can continue to drive your organization and your users there. Again, just a big thank you out to all of our champions that joined the call today. Thank you for participating with us, and for our production crew and folks here at Microsoft that made this call a success. Thank you all. There's a lot of folks that are on screen behind the scenes making this successful. So thank you all, and thank you again to the OneDrive team for today's topic. And with that, we'll wrap our September call.